Welcome to the Curious Hearts Collective podcast, here to help you align to life in joyful, creative, and inspiring ways with your host, Vanessa Trufin.
So, Angus, I'm so glad to be joining you again today for another amazing conversation. How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous. Thanks, Vanessa. I can't wait to get into this. It's going to be so fun.
Yes, it is. I always have the best time having these conversations. So there was something that we mentioned in our last podcast episode where we talked about, I think I mentioned I'm doing it for her. Of like me getting out of my own way and stepping into my greatness and being mindful of who it is that I'm impacting. And I shared with you that one of the hers that I do it for is my mom. And I know that you kind of related to that of like wanting to make your mom proud. And I've been in leadership my whole life, like literally since you could run for class president in like second or third grade or something. Like that was me. And my senior year of college at NAU, I was the leadership learning community mentor. So as a senior, I mentored a group of freshman students who were interested in leadership. And we had weekly meetings and up until like the whole year, and we discussed leadership. And one of the main themes that I had as a mentor was, what is your definition of success? And I'm like giving myself kudos because I was, 2021 at the time. And for me to be thinking and getting grounded on what's my definition of success and what's your definition of success, I think really helped clear a pathway for me for my career. Because I'm going to be honest with you, like my mom is an immigrant to the country. And I think for her and her idea of what success was when I was growing up was my daughter's a lawyer. She's a successful doctor. She's an entrepreneur. She's making a lot of money. She lives in a nice house and she dresses nice and has a great car. That would have been my mom's definition of success. I know because I heard it often.
Yeah.
And now when I think about that, your mom has a different definition of success than your dad, than you, than your brother, than your cousins, than your neighbor, than your partner. And I'm curious, what's been your relationship with, defining success and even realizing like, am I a successful person in my life? And what's something that we can give our listeners now that are points of reflection and a little bit of come to authenticity moments where they can really connect to who they are and their definition of success?
Well, I love the question, and I'm going to add one element that you didn't talk about, and that's society. And we get so many ideas and so much pressure from society. Like, the old expression of keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? It means something different to everybody, but it's like in your neighborhood, like, do you have the nicest Nikes? Do you have the nicest Audi? Do you have the motorboat? Like, what is success? It's different to everybody, but it's kind of in your little circle, like what you need to have to kind of live up to and fit into that group. And that shocking part, and I love the research of the Gottman Institute because they talk about relationships and they talk about them practically from the place of what makes a relationship work and what makes it fail. And so many of the societal pressures, the things that like, some of the old like tongue-in-cheek kind of things, but he needs to be rich and tall, dark, and handsome, and like all these like things that we're looking for. He needs to own his own house, and he needs to be making $125,000 a year, and like none of those things make for relationship success. And I know we're not talking about specifically relationship success, but I'm using this, and I'll get back to success in general in just a minute. But like, you look at guys like George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, like. I'm just using guys right now, but like the best of the best, the highest earners, the like most gorgeous people, and they all have divorces. So
They all what?
They all have divorces. So clearly, like them being good looking and making a lot of money and having success, like doesn't mean that you have success. And so I think that we oftentimes misplace the markers for what success looks like. And part of the reason for that is it's easy to grade the things that don't matter. It's easy to look at how many dollars you have in your bank account or your 401k. It's easy to look at like how many rooms are in your house, or what your house value is worth, or how many pairs of shoes do you own, or how nice is that car? Like all these different things that like, oh, they're status symbols, but they have zero relevancy to the success of your life. Like, are you happy? Is your family happy? Are the people around you happy? Like, and I don't actually even like happy as a good marker for success, because happy comes and goes. Like mood swings come and go. So there's going to be times where you're a success in life and you're grieving. There's going to be times where you're successful and there's sadness or there's hurt or whatever it is. So you don't always need to be happy. That's a dangerous thing to chase.
Yeah.
Yet there are ways to test and see, are you being successful? So one of the things, I was just on a podcast with a financial planner the other day. And for those of you that don't know, I was in financial planning and a financial advisor for, I think, 14 years, from 2000 basically till 2014. And so I saw and helped a lot of people with a lot of money, and watched as their relationships broke down and they went through divorce and splitting assets and all these things. So as I'm talking to this financial planner on this podcast, we're talking about the markers of success. And if you're only measuring like how much money did your business make this past year, if you're only measuring, hey, I need to get up to $450,000 by the time that I'm 40, or I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30 or 50 or 60. Like, if you're measuring by dollar signs, if you're measuring by things that you can count, you're almost assuredly missing the mark for what makes for a truly successful, like holistically successful life.
Wow. So much truth to that, because I think society, parents, school has really dictated and defined what success means. And I think back to, activities in school where you talk about what you want to be when you grow up and how people have different answers. And one, I don't know how often they question the why. And then two, is happy or successful or fulfilled an appropriate answer in a classroom setting? And it's interesting, the experience and the background that you have, and how working with people's finances and helping them grow that can seem as successful, and at the same time you saw so much of their life changing and crumbling and falling apart. And I'm so grateful that you presence that you can be successful and be grieving. And because I experienced that and I lived that, and in those moments I really questioned my success. I really questioned if I was proud of myself for what I was doing, because I think at the moment I was closing my business, and I grew to be resentful of my success. Like that's how I knew I wasn't successful, actually, is I grew to resent the success that I had with my business. We were so busy, we were fully booked, we were doing great, and I was so unhappy with it because I didn't have time for the things that mattered to me. I didn't have time for my family. I didn't have time for my passions. I didn't have time for the things that really brought me so much joy outside of my career, outside of my business. And that to me was not success. And I've lived in defining what success looked like to me, and I'm constantly redefining what that looks like for me. And one thing that I want to point out that you said is that you said, how did you word that? Creating success or being successful, or something along those lines of like, it's a constant state of being that we're continuing to do. It's not just I've achieved success and that's it, done. Here's my stake in the ground and ta-da, let's celebrate, pop confetti. Yeah, exactly. And it can constantly change and move and flow. Yeah.
One of the things that as you're talking, I'm reminded, there's an amazing podcaster. He's a young guy named Chris Williamson. He hosts the Modern Wisdom podcast. I'm a big fan of that. And I can't remember if it's his statement or if he was quoting somebody else, but he says, you've already hit goals and accomplished things that you told yourself would make you happy. Happiness is a constantly moving marker.
Yeah.
And if you're aiming at happiness, it's always going to be on the move, and you're always going to be chasing it, and you're never actually going to feel like you're fulfilled, content. And so this is where I challenge people to shift their measurements, how they're tracking those metrics. So like, for instance, when it comes to relationships, how do you know that your relationship's a great relationship? Most people have no idea. They go by a feeling. Some days it's good, some days it's not. Like, I challenge you. So Mayan and I, we have a practice. We used to do it every day. Sometimes we don't have time to do it every day, but we typically do it at least once a week. We actually have a date night. And I'm going to tell you that most people date nights, frankly, they suck. They argue for 20 to 30 minutes about where they're going to go to dinner. And then they go and they eat a meal and they're kind of present, kind of not. And then 3 days later, they couldn't tell you what they ate or if it was any good or any of the things from that. It's not memorable at all. I don't count that as a date. That's just a regular Tuesday dinner, like just not relevant. A date is something where you ask, or I typically recommend that the man leads this, but ask her out. Hey, I'd like to take you out on Wednesday. We actually have kind of a standing date for Wednesdays. Hey, Wednesday night, I'd like to take you out. Now, this Wednesday, I'm going out of town. So I asked her out on Monday. We went out last night. We went out to Topgolf. But while we're there, we brought our journal. And I highly recommend what we call a gratitude journal. If you do this every day, your life will be amazing. If you do it once a week, it'll be really good. It'll be better. It'll be in the top 10%, probably top 1% of happy couples out there. Write down as many things as you can think of from the previous period, whether it's the last week or the last day, that you are thankful, grateful, or love about your life because of your spouse, because of your partner. Make that list. At least 10 things. If it's every day, it should be at least 3 things. But if it's once a week, it should be at least 10 things. And then switch, give that book, that journal to them, and they write at least 10 things that they're grateful, thankful, happy about you being in their life. And then ask this question on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about our relationship right now? Write those numbers down where you can't see them and then show each other. Right now, it's an 8.7. Right now, it's a 5.4. Okay. The follow-up question is the real marker. This is what makes your life great. What could I do this week to help get it back up to a 10? Now, if you're starting this and you're at a 4 or 5 or 6, there's going to be 1,000 things. So just ask for one thing. What is one thing that I could do this week that would make it better, like dramatically better? You know what? If you would just vacuum, that would be amazing. You know what? If you would handle that mess on your desk, if you would call your dad like you said you were going to, like, it doesn't matter what it is, but when you check in and measure, are we a 10? And not everybody's goal is a 10. I would encourage you to make it a 10, because if you, in your relationship with your partner, have a 10 out of 10 relationship, every other life gets easier and better. You will be more fulfilled. You will take better care of your body. Your mental health will be better. Your relationship with your kids, the way you show up at work and you're able to focus and not have to worry about the fight that you're going home to. Like, if you can make that good, every other area of your life will get better and easier. And then when they tell you what they need from you, make an effort, put it in your phone, make a reminder every day. Remind me, I need to whatever it is that she said, that he said, do something to move it forward. And if you do that on a weekly basis, I promise you, your relationship will continue to get better instead of going through entropy. Entropy is just the normal life process that wears things down, breaks things down. It's always trying to happen. The world is trying to break things down. And if you're not trying to actively build it up, like your health, like your muscles, it's going to deteriorate and atrophy and get worse. So choosing that. If you have kids, do the same thing. Take them out on a date once a week or once a month, and write down all the things that you're grateful for them about. Ask them to write down some of the things that they're grateful about for you. And then say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is our relationship? What could I do to make it a 10? You will be shocked what they can tell you, and how probably simple it could be for you to make that relationship a better relationship. And then you can do the same types of exercises in different areas of your life. On a scale of 1 to 10, where am I at in my fitness? What is one thing I could do in my fitness to get better that would make a dramatic difference? What would one thing I could do in my finances that would be better? If you do those types of exercises, they're not going to show up on a spreadsheet, but they will absolutely improve your life and make it to where your whole life is successful. And at the end of your life, people will be at your funeral and talk about how amazing you were because you made a difference in somebody's life. You heard them and you took action to make their life better.
Holy cow. That was incredible. It's your presence, even for me, somebody who's thought a lot about success, how internal it is. And how, when you're thinking about the spreadsheets, how do you measure your happiness in a relationship? Your relationship with your parents, with your siblings, with your coworkers, with your health, your relationship with your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. Like there's so much. And as I was listening to you speak, I'm like, I kept reminding myself, he's speaking about success. He is, because as you were talking about relationships and checking in with each other, and that plays such a big part of your life for those that are in a relationship romantically. Like a relationship doesn't have to be with a romantic partner. It can be with yourself. Absolutely. With your coworkers, with your family, with everyone. And how much of our internal success really reflects on the external parts of our life. I had visible success and proof with it in my business, but internally I was not happy with it. So for me, I remember I had this massive struggle of I'm failing. And then it didn't reflect that until it did. Because when I was inside, I was like not aligned with it. It wasn't fulfilling to me. I wasn't happy with the life that I was living. I wasn't happy with the work that I was doing. And then it started reflecting on my business. And man, did it take years for me to actually be able to see that. It took a while for me to see that clearly, and how much of our internal life and world really influences how we feel and experience success.
So it's obviously you're beyond that stage of your life where you were running that wedding boutique business.
Yeah.
But like it would be interesting to me as a journaling exercise to hear again, you had already accomplished things that you told yourself you would be happy with, that would make you happy, and then all of a sudden you're not happy. But like, when did you stop checking in with yourself of like, am I creating the business that I love? Am I doing what I'm passionate about? In your business, if you had checked in with yourself once a week, once a month, once a quarter, and asked yourself that question, like, who would I need to be, or what would I need to shift in this business to be and to still be happy and be thriving and fulfilled in this business, and then you made that shift, I wonder where you would be. And I'm not saying this from a look back with regret, but
Right.
in your future endeavors, as you're setting these new goals and visions, like at some point, 3, 6, 10 years from now, you're going to be like, huh, here we go again. I got to make another podcast. I got to like, how are you going to be different to check in and make sure that you're on the path that is going to lead you to success? And it's not dollars, people. I promise you
No.
that you can't have enough money. You can be Jeff Bezos and go through a freaking divorce, or Elon Musk and go through a divorce and have child custody issues. And like, it doesn't, there's no amount of money that's going to make you happy. It's going to be miserable if you're chasing the dollar sign. So what can you chase that's meaningful, that actually could be a true definition of holistic success in your life?
It's interesting that you say that. It wasn't, I think I did ask myself about my business. What I didn't ask myself though was at home. Am I successful at home? Am I fulfilled? And I love that I use the word fulfilled and not happy, because you're right. Happiness is it fluctuates, and
Right.
you can be happy and grieving, and you can be heartbroken and happy at the same time. And for me, it's fulfillment and getting clear on what that means to me. What is my definition of fulfillment and my own definition of success? What I didn't do in those times is really check in with myself about what was missing at home, what was missing in my relationships that I was filling in with other things. Because it's really what I when I grew to resent my business, it was I was always busy. I was always working, and I loved the work that I was doing, and I didn't have time to engage in my passions. I didn't have time. Like there were times when I would sit down to play the piano, and I'm grateful for the many coaches and mentors and therapists that I've had, because it just grew to be normal for me. I would sit down to play, and my brain would make a list of the things that I needed to get done. And then I felt guilty for sitting down and engaging in an activity that would fill me up.
Yes.
I would sit down to play and my brain was like, here's a list of things that you haven't done yet. Here's a list of people you haven't texted back, a list of emails, a list of promotions. And I was like, oh my God, okay.
Yeah.
And I felt guilt.
Yeah.
I felt guilt for engaging in the things that would really bring fulfillment and joy and happiness and love and passion into my life.
So
And
I
it,
want to go. Sorry, go ahead.
no,
Finish.
no, if I was just going to end with if I would have checked in with myself and listened to that guilt and what it was communicating, I would have, I think, come to the awareness sooner without the massive amount of pain that I created for myself
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
closing my business to actually have a successful, fulfilled life.
There's two things I want to say to this. First, on our website, yourepiclove.com, we have a page that talks about our quarterly relationship retreat. And maybe we can put a link in the show notes
Yeah,
for this.
absolutely.
But the quarterly relationship retreat, it's designed around your relationship, but it has questions about your finances and your physical health and some different things, because we highly recommend that you have an intentional like weekend getaway every quarter with your spouse where you ask yourself these questions and then you get together and compare notes to your answers with your spouse or with your partner. Like, hey, what is our vision for the future? What did we say we were going to accomplish last quarter that we didn't? Oh, is that still important to us? Do we need to shift something? What's our goals for the next quarter with our health, with our business, like with the house? What are some improvements that need to be made? By analyzing those things and then comparing them, you can set a vision and like actually pursue that. So I think that's going to be helpful for some of the listeners. And even if you're not in a relationship, get in the habit of checking in with yourself quarterly.
Mhm.
What is it that my goals are this year, this quarter? So I think that'll be a good resource. I want to point out though, and I think you and I have talked about this offline quite a few times. What I hear, and this is so common for the women that we serve, you sitting down at the piano and the list comes up. What I call that is you've been trained, whether you want to call this modern feminism, I just call it training women to be in their masculine energy.
Mhm.
You were trained that you should be doing, you should be working, you should be striving, you should be getting better, you should be like all the doing energy
Yep.
is masculine energy. And you had been like that had been hammered into you for years. And your feminine energy, that is the part that like gets to be in your body and feel things and create and like be in touch with all of the things that aren't on a list. They're not, you can't do them. You have to be them and feel them. That part of you had been like shut down and compartmentalized and like, no, you've got to do all these things first before you're allowed to just be in who you are as a woman.
Mhm.
And I say that to you, but there are men out there too who you have a feminine side as well, man. And if you
Mhm.
never let yourself go there, never let yourself get in touch with it, you're out of balance and out of harmony as well. So it's important to get the things done. And it's important to be who you are authentically, whether that's writing poetry or riding a horse or, learning the piano or sitting with your toes in the creek. Like, it doesn't matter if
Mhm.
you're not allowing yourself the time and space to do what feeds the inner part of you. You're out of balance, you're out of harmony, and your life is going to feel miserable. You may have all of the markers of success, but inside, there's something that's missing. You have to acknowledge that and you have to give it what it needs to be the fullest, best version of you.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that this is a podcast recording and that I have this answer that you just said recorded, because it was like you were telling my story. That's exactly what it felt like. I was so in my masculine energy, this powerhouse business owner who had the successful business at such a young age, and I was proud of that. And I still am.
It is, yeah.
I'm proud of it because it's helped me grow into who I am. It's
Yes.
helped reshape the way that I view myself and success, fulfillment, happiness.
Yeah.
But it really was doing. What's next? What's next? We're growing. There's eyes on us. How do I navigate this? How do I manage that? Throw in a pandemic and like I was exhausted. I was exhausted. There were times where I realized like I've loved cooking. And I giggle at that because there was a time where I would get home and I was like, I have no freaking interest in cooking. That's just more energy. That's just more time. That's just another thing I have to do now that I created the story in my mind that I hated cooking, when in reality I was just exhausted and I didn't have the energy to do that. And by the time I closed my business, I was a shell of a person. I remember staring into my closet, looking at all my pretty things and realize, like, asking myself, who wears that? Did I wear that? All of these dresses, all these pretty things, all I wanted to do was wear black and just exist because of the doingness. I didn't prioritize myself. I didn't prioritize the things that fulfilled me. And that's truly what helped me realize finally. It was screaming in my life, you're not successful. This isn't success. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought this beautiful house, this beautiful husband, my dog, my car, all of these cool things would bring fulfillment into my life. I thought that I would be like, this is amazing. I love it. And I did for a while until I didn't.
Yeah.
And another thing, and I know that I'm not alone in this, I ignored the little voice that told me so often, like, you're not happy. And I'm like, well, how could I not be happy? This is my dream. This is my business. Look how beautiful it is. Well, how could I not be happy? Not only am I in one successful relationship, I'm in two or three or whatever it was at the time. And I always had an answer, a quick remark to the part of me, to my higher self, to my inner wisdom that was really encouraging me to check in with myself. And I ignored it for too long. And now, through intentionality, through consistency, through affirmations and meditation, I have grown to listen to her, to listen to me, and to, even if I don't understand it, like moving to California, for example, I was like, California, and I was like, okay, I'll listen to you. I'm listening. I've learned my lesson to no longer ignore that, and to slow down, and to allow my nervous system to just relax and be, because man, was I totally out of alignment and totally not living I was living my version of success, but not my true authentic version of success.
Well, that's the thing I would say, is that you were living a version of success that was painted for you. Like, you adopted it, but it was society and your mom and all these people like telling you, when you have these things, then you'll be successful, and success equals happiness, and worldly, monetary, even business success does not equal happiness. It does not equal fulfillment. And I would say that for most women, if you've ever experienced burnout, which is what I'm hearing you say without using that term, that is almost always, not always, because there are some people that just can't, or it's something else, but almost always in my experience, a woman experiencing burnout has been in her masculine so long and denied her feminine for so long that she's lost touch with that part of herself, and she's experienced this place of, what is even the point? Like, I have everything that everybody's told me I'm supposed to have. I'm doing everything that everybody's told me I'm supposed to do, and it's not filling me on the inside. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. What is wrong? And as soon as she can bring that life back into harmony, where she listens to herself, where she gets into her body and she feels whatever feeling she has, whatever those emotions are, letting herself feel those things and actually experiencing them, and then paying attention to what it's yearning for. You were yearning to learn the piano, to be creative, to have that outlet. And you're like doing all these things, but you won't let her, that feminine part of you, do what she knows. And she's screaming at you to, like, please, I've been trying to get in touch with this part of me since I was 8 years old. Like, why won't you listen to me? Each her that I'm talking to right now has something that she's denying herself of, thinking it's serving her long-term success. And I promise you, you're trading long-term worldly success for your own mental health, for your own satisfaction, for your own sanity right now. It's critical to bring that balance and hear what is it that your body is telling you that you need, and then create a practice around that. We talk with most of our clients, because most of our clients are that woman. They're successful. They went through college. They got the degree. They're whatever. And for some reason, relationships haven't worked. We could talk about that in another podcast, but basically they're all in their masculine energy. And if you're trying to attract a masculine man, he's not going to work. It's like magnets, and you've got the polarity reversed. Yep. If you're in your masculine, he can't attach to you. He's going to push away, because you get to flip to your feminine if you want that relationship to stick. I'll leave that there. My point is, so many of them are in their masculine. They don't even know what it's like to be in their feminine. Like they've completely shut that part of them down. And so it starts with small practices. Like, what can you do in the morning to not just be go, 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 to stop for a minute? Can you do 5 minutes of breath work? Can you do 5 minutes of yoga without the intention of doing yoga, but just to be the person who enjoys yoga? Can you do 5 minutes of meditation, not to check off the box that I did the meditation, not to like, well, I have to do a meditation because the people say that doing meditation is good for you. Can you just be present with yourself and feel what's going on? And it's so funny because some of the women that like push back the hardest against this, like, no, I know how to, I'm in my feminine all the time. I do breath work. And I'm like, but I can tell from the way you talk about it, you're doing the breath work. You're not being the person who enjoys breath work. You're doing it to check it off, to say, I'm the leader of this. I help women do this. Your energy is like still masculine, even though you're doing like something that you think is feminine. You've missed it. You've gone past it into the doing of it again. So on your lunch break, can you go for a walk? Can you say a prayer? Can you do something that takes you out of your head and out of task mode and into just the awareness of what the awe of earth is, the awe of nature, the awe of you being one with yourself at night? Can you do we have a practice that's very simple, but we use a skincare system that's amazing. It's a Korean skincare line, but they have a ritual that you do every night to bring out this like Korean glow. And I've been using it for a while. I'm gorgeous. It does make me look better and younger. So I'm trying to keep up with Mayan, even though we're 6 weeks apart in age, but she looks like she's 27 and I look like I'm 67. So
oh, come on.
I'm trying to reverse age here. But their ritual, we put together a self-care, soul care ritual. So like as you're doing each of the products on your face, you're asking yourself a question. Instead of the doing of I'm making myself look good, I'm taking care of my skin, that's still doing energy.
Yeah.
But if you ask yourself the question, like, what am I trying to exfoliate from not just my skin, what am I trying to exfoliate from my body, from my soul that I'm carrying, that I don't need to carry anymore? What am I trying to refresh and bring renewal to my life, not just to my skin, but to my body, to my soul? Like, what in my relationships am I trying to nourish? Like asking yourself those questions and tying them in with that skincare, it allows you to move from the doing action to the being, to the meditation, to the femininity of it. And it changes your energy completely. And that's going to change who you attract and how your relationship dynamics work.
Wow. I love that we're having this conversation, and I didn't realize how much goes into success, into at least fulfillment in your own life. When you were talking about burnout, I know I haven't necessarily named it, but you're right. I experienced burnout, and the way that I'm a visual person, and I'm gonna paint this picture now. I imagine this massive tree, and I'm holding an axe. And every single time I ignore my little voice that's telling me to slow down, ignore the voice that's telling me to really just be and exist and relax and do whatever. I'm like, boom, hacking at the tree, just like bam, right with an axe every single time. Every single time I ignore it. Every single time I ignore it. Well, after hitting the tree for so many times, it's going to collapse. It is going to fall. One after another for however many months and years. And that's what happened. And I love the intentionality and the invitation to slow down. And I used to be the kind of person who was constantly, and I'm so grateful for mentors and coaches because they presence that of, Vanessa, are you seeking connection because it's on your to-do list? Or are you seeking connection because you want to be connected to the person, to be present, to be in a relationship with them? And I was like, oh my God, of course I want to be in relationship with them. And they were like, well, you're making it sound like a task. And it takes a lot of really grounding into the intention of it. What is my intention? What, like, really sitting in silence and allowing myself to connect with myself, to be grounded in what the intention is. And what I learned with success for me as an entrepreneur, as the person that I was, let's say 3 years ago, the intention was to prove to myself that I'm worthy of love. I had my biological father left when I was little, and I created a story in my mind of I am super smart. I am a go-getter. I'm intelligent. I'm confident I can accomplish anything. Just you watch. Like, you're the one missing out. It's not me. You're missing out. And I created this massive success to prove, and it took a lot of work for me to understand that, to prove it's me trying to prove that I was worthy, me trying to prove. And it really was, like you said, somebody handed me the paintbrush and somebody handed me the colors and said, you can create your own version of what success is. But in reality, I'm giving you the foundation of what it is. I'm giving you the colors. You don't get to pick.
Right.
I'm giving you the tool brush. You don't get the paintbrush. You don't get to decide what tools you're using to craft your own version of success. And when I really got to create alignment with myself is when I sat with curiosity in myself of, what are my values? Is it important to me to make a lot of money? Or is that my mom's voice telling me that that's what success is? Is it important for me to be a mother of kids? Or is that just what everyone told me growing up, like get married, have babies? And I was like, oh my God, I don't have them. Oh no. And it took a lot of facing myself straight on, without judgment, without shame, without blaming myself, and really getting clear on my values. What is important to me? From that place, identifying what is my own version of happiness, of fulfillment, of success. And I can tell you that my definition of that now is having balance. Is if I'm working a career and a job in a business, it's something that I'm passionate about, something that I'm interested in, something that's going to be bringing positivity to the world and to the people that I'm impacting. That's success. And it means I have time for my family members. I have the time, energy, and freedom to pursue my interests, to go to my niece's like school performance in the middle of the day. And that means I'm there and I'm present and I get to share in the big moments that are going to shape her life. And that's my own definition of fulfillment and success. And it takes work. But it's also work that I'm enjoying doing, because I've learned to love meditations, and not just like, I love that you said, can I create 5 minutes to do that? And my question now is, can I afford not to? Can I afford not to create the 30 minutes to get a workout in? Can I afford not to give myself the 30 minutes to sit and enjoy the outside, the meditation, my breathing? Can I afford not to? And my answer now is no. I can't afford not to. I owe it to myself.
There's two things that come up for me. Start small with those things.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I've shared this before. Tell me if I have, if this sounds familiar to you. When I used to struggle with working out, I would always like make these big goals. And finally, I'm like, forget the big goal. I promise that I'm going to do 10 push-ups a day, minimum. I can always have time to do 10 push-ups. Have I talked about this?
No.
Okay. So I think this will help.
Yay.
Even though I promised myself I would do 10 push-ups a day, I never did 10 push-ups a day. Why? Because at the same time, I promised myself I'm the type of person who always does more than the minimum. And I can do 10 push-ups in like 7 seconds. So when I go down to do 10 push-ups, I don't do 10 push-ups. I always do at least 11. And most of the time it's 25, 35. Right now I'm up to about 65 push-ups a set.
Wow.
That's because I started small. I didn't make I have time for 30-minute walk every day. I have time for what I knew could take at least 10 seconds. Can I take 10 seconds to shift my energy, to do something that's meaningful? And then once you start taking it, you realize this is so valuable. Why would I only take the 7 seconds to do the 10 push-ups? I can take 15 seconds. Oh, now I'm here for 15 seconds. Now I can take 30. Now I can take a 5-minute walk. Now I can take a 10-minute meditation, because you realize how valuable it is when you start small. But if you're like, I need to make all this time, I don't know where I'm going to do it, it becomes another task on my to-do list. It's not worth it. Start small. Give yourself some grace. Be consistent. Use the principles of consistency that will absolutely start to add up and make a huge difference. That's the first part. The second part, you just hit what we were talking about last week, or on our last podcast, when we were talking about, it was in my head just a second ago. I'm trying to bring it all back. When you're in your feminine and you're trying to, gosh, I'm losing, you said something and I want to bring it back. Might not be appropriate. We'll let it go. If it comes back, it comes back. There was something that was like, oh, that stands out so much, but
Yeah.
it's gone right now. I can't bring it back.
No, well, no, I'm glad that you said that because I'm the kind of person who wants to, oh my God, I'm gonna get super into meditating now. I'm gonna do 30 minutes and 40 minutes and blah blah blah. And I was teaching my nephew how to play piano, and I kept telling him, stay in the step you're in, stay in the step you're in. And it's a constant reminder for me too. Like I want to be on step 30, I want to be on step 55, and I'm on step 2 or whatever step that I'm in. So staying in the step that I'm in and allowing myself progress.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it came back.
Yay!
You in our last episode were talking, or you had asked what some of the people struggle with, and one of the things was unworthiness.
Yep.
And you just prefaced that when your dad left, you told yourself a story. This is the virus that we were talking about.
Yep.
That you have to earn love, and you are not alone in that.
No.
So many women, especially, are under the belief that they have to earn love, and so they're constantly out there trying to do the thing that they told themselves they needed to do to get somebody to love them.
Yep.
So they're earning and working and learning and striving and kicking ass and taking names and doing and leading and all these things. And the craziest part of all of that is that actually makes it harder for somebody to love you. Because men typically, unless they're unhealed, like still in their boyhood phase, are not looking for a woman to do a bunch of things for them. Men actually derive joy from the doing. They enjoy providing, protecting, and serving.
Mm-hmm.
They want a woman to be the being that brings life and joy and laughter and peace into their life. They know what it is to grind. They don't need somebody that can outgrind them. They need somebody that can bring a level of peace in. So here are most women out there doing all this stuff to try and get love. And then the healthy man comes around and he's like, I'm not interested in any of that you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, cool. It's awesome. Go do it. And most of them are highly supportive of you having that success.
Yep.
If you can turn it off when you get home. But if you can't turn that off when you get home and you're still grinding and striving, like they don't need more of that. They want to come home to a place where it's like, I would love to serve you and just be in your presence because of who you are. You're an amazing person and you just bring me joy and you bring me peace. And like, I love our conversations and you're deep and you're amazing. And the things that you create are wonderful to listen to and be around. But I don't need you to strive. I don't need you to make tons of money. I don't need you to be the CEO. I don't need you to be any of those things. I just want you to be you.
Yep.
I want to enjoy being around you. And if you're still earning that love, you're not enjoyable to be around. You don't even actually believe that you deserve to be around, or you would have stopped trying to earn it.
Right.
And so it's a trap. And if you're one of those people that is out there listening and you're still caught in that trap, acknowledge that it's a trap and it's time to get out. You are lovable for who you are, and that probably isn't landing right now. I'm probably triggering like some landmine in you that says like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Trust me, you're lovable as you are, but you get to believe that first. If you need help with that, Mayan is amazing. I am really good at helping you see that you're lovable right now so that you can attract that partner who actually loves you right now and you're not still striving and trying to earn it.
Oh, such wisdom and gold. All I felt was love at that time. And you reminded me of moments with a partner that I had where I felt like I would get in trouble. He'd be like, let me take care of you. Let me love you. Let me do this for you, you stubborn woman. And I was like, oh my God, fine. Like, I think of one time when I was trying to like clasp my bracelet or fix something, and he was like, just let me do it. Just let me do it. Just let me. And the amount of times that like he would sit me down and just say, relax, just be. You don't have to do anything. And I didn't comprehend. I couldn't comprehend what he meant by that. And I knew he was right, because there was one point where he sat me down and he's like, you're stressed, just sit. It's okay. I got it. And I started to cry. And I shocked myself. I was like, I do not know why I'm crying. And I think really deep down, a part of me knew he was right. I needed to just sit down and be. And when he was like, I will make dinner, you sit, just be, just talk to me about your day, play the piano while I cook. And I sobbed. And I really just cried. And I was like, there's something here. There's something here. And I made a shift and a choice then to start allowing myself to be supported, to start asking for help, even in tiny things. Hey, can you clasp my bracelet? Can you zip this up? Can you help me reach this thing on my shoe or whatever it was? And those allowed me to soften and to just be supported. So I love that you said that, because I don't even think that I had really that was like present in my own awareness until you said it, and my brain was like, here's the proof of what he's saying. Here's the proof of what he's saying. And how in my healthiest relationships too, the men in my life loved helping me. They loved supporting me. They loved making my life easier. They loved doing things for me. And I didn't have to earn that. And I'm telling Vanessa then, I'm like, you didn't have to earn that. And anyone listening to now, you're already worthy. You're already worthy just by existing, just by being yourself, just by breathing. You're worthy of it. And we don't have to earn those things. And I love, Angus, that you're like, I might be triggering some part of you, but like, I invite anyone listening to this to be in curiosity, to just say, I wonder if there's truth to his words, and how could I apply that to my life? Because there are a lot of truths to your words. And I'm so grateful that you shared that perspective. And I know that I'm not alone in thinking like, how do we clone Angus and like make other versions of you, so that we also get to have healthy, healed men in our lives? Because it's beautiful to experience.
Yeah. I want to say one thing, because there's probably a woman out there who's arguing with that men love to serve and do, because some men don't. Some men have been broken and not healed yet. And so they're looking for somebody to serve them. But a healthy man actually derives value from doing, providing, protecting, serving. And all that you need, or all that he needs to continue doing that, is appreciation. Like, you will be shocked at what a man will do for you if you express your gratitude, your genuine appreciation for him. You want to teach him to keep doing that? Show him that whatever he did, making you dinner, putting the bracelet on, like, you are grateful for, and he will continue. Men, there's that old saying that men are dogs. Like, there's not a higher compliment. Everybody knows that dogs are like the most amazing, loyal, wonderful creatures. And you can train them to do anything. And you can train them to be killers.
Yeah.
Or you can train them to be gentle lovers. And all that you have to do is treat them a certain way to train them. There are men who have been trained to not do and not provide and not protect because they've been walked all over, they've been mistreated. And then there are men who, when they do something that's wonderful, noble, loyal, serving, whatever, and they're rewarded with praise and appreciation, they will never not do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that it takes for a man to not get burned out by things that burn out a woman. All it takes is a little bit of gratitude, and he will continue to serve and love and do for you, so you don't have to, so that you can just be, and he can enjoy your being.
What a beautiful place to, I say, end this podcast, is gratitude and appreciation, and circling it back to what you said earlier of creating gratitude as a practice in our lives, and how much that will improve just how we view our lives, ourselves, the quality of life that we create, and our relationships. And take that even further than just yourself and your relationships. Experience gratitude to the person taking your order at In-N-Out, to the lady you encounter picking watermelons at the grocery store, and express gratitude, be present, and really get clear and aligned on your own fulfillment and joy and success, because we don't have to earn it. Just by being, we're just worthy of it. So this was a really great conversation. Angus, is there anything that you'd like to add before we close up and finalize?
What I heard you say right there was amazing. And I'm just going to sum it up by saying, redefine success.
Yes.
Like success is all those things that you just said right there. And if you did those things on a daily basis, you could be successful right now. You could be impacting so many lives, and you could be bringing home with you so much joy and so many fun stories that you get to celebrate right now. Like your life could be successful right now just by being present and shifting a few of those things. It doesn't take a lot of money to have success and to be making a huge difference in this world.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. As always, this has been an incredible conversation. And I know anyone listening to it is taking so many wonderful takeaways from it. And I can't wait to hear how they're redefining success and the ways that they're experiencing gratitude in their lives too. Thank you, Angus, for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Curious Hearts Collective podcast with your host and executive producer, Vanessa Trufin. This podcast has been produced by Dennis Trufin. And remember, links to resources will always be in the show notes down below for you, so make sure you check those out. And please follow, rate, and review this podcast wherever you are listening, as it does really help out this show.